Have you ever wondered why some itches just won't go away? What if your body was trying to tell you something important, something most people ignore? As we grow older, our bodies communicate through subtle signs, aches, fatigue, or even persistent itchiness. While many assume a small itch is nothing more than dry skin or irritation, the truth is more complex. The exact spot where the itching appears could reveal far more about your health than you realize. In seniors, certain areas of chronic itchiness have been linked to serious underlying conditions that can silently shorten your lifespan. Yes, something as simple as a lingering itch could be your body waving a red flag, urging you to pay attention before it's too late. In this video, we'll uncover 4 specific areas where itching might signal deeper health concerns, giving you the insight to recognize these warnings early, protect your well-being, and add more years of strength, clarity, and peace of mind to your life. Now let's begin with the first one. Persistent itchiness on the lower legs. This subtle, often overlooked sign may reveal much more than you expect. Many people brush off the occasional itch as a normal part of aging. After all, who hasn't felt that irritating tickle now and then? But when the sensation lingers, especially around the calves, shins, or ankles, and there's no visible rash, bite, or irritation, it could be your body quietly signaling something deeper. Doctors have increasingly noticed that this kind of persistent itchiness, particularly in older adults, may point to circulation issues, specifically a condition called peripheral artery disease, or PAD. This occurs when the arteries supplying blood to your lower limbs become narrowed or blocked due to a buildup of fatty deposits, reducing the flow of oxygen-rich blood to the legs and feet. When blood struggles to circulate through these smaller vessels, the skin can become dry, overly sensitive, and prone to that relentless nagging itch. To picture this more clearly, imagine 2 men, Harold and Dennis, both in their early 80s, living in the same quiet neighborhood. Harold has always been proactive about his health. Every morning he takes a brisk 15-minute walk, greeting his neighbors along the way. He routinely checks his legs and feet for changes, a habit formed after years of hearing his doctor emphasize the importance of circulation and diabetes care. Lately, he's been feeling fine, with no unusual sensations to report. Dennis, however, has taken a different path. Over the past year, his activity level has dropped. His knees ache, and he spends long hours in his recliner reading or watching TV. Recently, he's noticed a strange, persistent itch climbing up his lower legs, especially around the ankles, a discomfort that refuses to go away. Dennis's itching often flares up at night or after sitting for long periods. At first, he blamed the dry winter air and covered his legs with thick layers of lotion, but the relief never lasted. The itch kept returning, sometimes waking him from sleep as he scratched without realizing it. What Dennis doesn't know is that this could be more than a simple surface irritation. It may be his body's subtle way of warning that blood flow to his lower limbs isn't what it used to be, a quiet sign of poor circulation developing beneath the surface. So, what's really happening when circulation in the legs begins to falter? It's not just about the discomfort or dryness. When blood flow becomes restricted, the tissues in your lower limbs don't receive enough oxygen and nutrients to stay healthy. Over time, this can lead to more than irritation. The muscles may weaken, cramping more easily with movement. The skin becomes thinner, fragile, and slower to heal, often bruising with minimal pressure. This isn't merely a local issue. It's a ripple effect that impacts your entire system. The legs are often called the second heart because they help pump blood back toward the heart through veins and muscles. When that mechanism weakens, it places extra strain on the cardiovascular system. Research has shown that poor circulation in the legs is linked to higher risks of heart disease, stroke, and even cognitive decline, since the brain depends on a steady flow of oxygen-rich blood to function properly. For Dennis, that persistent itch may be the first whisper of a deeper issue, one that could worsen if ignored. The science behind it is simple, yet revealing. In peripheral artery disease, reduced blood flow sets off a chain reaction. Nerve endings in the skin become irritated from lack of oxygen, sending constant itch signals to the brain even when nothing visible appears. At the same time, waste products that should be cleared by healthy circulation start building up in the tissues, intensifying the irritation. This happens more often in older adults because blood vessels naturally lose elasticity with age. Habits like inactivity, smoking, or eating foods high in saturated fats can speed up this decline. But it isn't only PAD that can cause such symptoms. Other conditions like chronic venous insufficiency, where veins struggle to return blood to the heart, or early signs of kidney and liver issues, can also show up as itching in the lower legs. The key sign of circulation-related itching is its persistence, and the way it worsens after long periods of sitting or standing, something Dennis might notice if he paid closer attention. Here's the good news. When detected early, this type of itchiness doesn't have to be permanent. Simple, consistent habits can make a big difference. Movement, for example, is one of the best natural remedies. For someone like Dennis, trading a bit of recliner time for gentle leg exercises, like ankle circles, calf stretches, or even short walks around the house, can help restore healthy blood flow. Regular walks, even just 10 to 15 minutes a day like Harold takes, can work wonders by strengthening the calf muscles that assist the heart in pumping blood upward. This muscle action helps pump blood upward, supporting healthier circulation. Elevating your feet while sitting, even just with a small stool or cushion, can also ease pressure on the veins and keep blood flowing more freely. Hydration matters too. When your skin becomes dry from dehydration, the itching can intensify, so sipping water throughout the day is one of the simplest ways to help. Compression socks, snug but not tight, can assist the veins and reduce blood pooling in the lower legs. Diet plays its part as well. Cutting back on salty snacks like chips and adding antioxidant-rich foods, such as berries or leafy greens, can help keep your blood vessels stronger and more flexible. In some cases, a doctor may recommend checking the blood pressure in your legs or running tests for peripheral artery disease, especially if the itching is accompanied by cold feet, numbness, or a pale bluish tint to the skin. If you've been ignoring an itch in your lower legs that just won't go away, even without a rash or visible cause, don't dismiss it. It might seem minor, but your body could be quietly asking for attention. For Harold, staying active keeps his circulation strong. For Dennis, recognizing that itch as a signal could be the first step toward improving not only his legs, but his overall health. Listen closely. Your shins might be trying to tell you something important. That familiar itch on your back might seem harmless, but what if it's more than just a surface irritation? What if your body is quietly raising a red flag, trying to deliver a message you shouldn't ignore? For many older adults, unexplained itching on the upper or mid-back isn't random. It can be a subtle clue, an early whisper from within that deserves attention. It's easy to blame the usual suspects: dry winter air, a rough shirt tag, or a reaction to a new soap. Those explanations often fit, and sometimes they're right. But when the itching lingers, when it returns again and again despite using lotions, changing fabrics, or adjusting your routine, it's time to look deeper. One lesser-known yet potentially serious cause of this type of itch lies in the liver or kidneys, two vital organs that quietly keep your body balanced. These internal filters work non-stop to remove toxins, regulate fluids, and maintain the delicate chemistry of your blood. When they begin to struggle, the effects ripple outward, and one of the first places those imbalances appear is on your skin, especially across the upper or mid-back, where nerve endings are densely packed and highly sensitive. Picture two women, Dorothy and Janice, both 76 years old and living in the same quiet town. Dorothy has always been proactive about her health, regular checkups, a tall glass of water every morning, and a skincare routine she's kept since her 50s. Her skin remains smooth, and she rarely feels discomfort. Janice, on the other hand, has had a very different experience. Lately, Janice has been feeling off. She's more tired than usual, even after a full night's sleep. By evening, her ankles start to swell, and an itch creeps across her upper back, growing worse at night. At first, she blamed her old wool sweater, then her laundry detergent. She tried thick moisturizers and switched to hypoallergenic soap, but the itch wouldn't go away, a constant irritation she couldn't escape. What Janice doesn't realize is that this persistent itch may be her body's warning signal. Her kidneys might be struggling to filter waste, or her liver could be under strain from processing toxins, allowing buildup that irritates her skin from within. The science behind it is both fascinating and sobering. When the liver or kidneys don't function properly, whether from age, chronic conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure, or even the long-term effects of medication, waste products such as urea, bilirubin, and other metabolic byproducts can accumulate in the bloodstream. These substances don't just stay hidden, they circulate through the body and can reach the skin, triggering inflammation and irritation. The upper and mid-back, with its dense network of nerves and thinner skin, often becomes the first area to react. Unlike the itch from a bug bite or allergy, this type rarely comes with a visible rash or redness. It runs deep beneath the surface, persistent, stubborn, and resistant to common over-the-counter remedies like hydrocortisone creams or soothing oatmeal baths. To make matters worse, this type of itch often intensifies at night, a condition doctors call nocturnal pruritus. It disrupts sleep, leaving you exhausted, foggy, and frustrated by morning. For older adults, this isn't just a minor discomfort. It can be an early warning sign tied to longevity. Studies show that chronic, unexplained itching, especially when linked to liver or kidney issues, can correlate with a shorter lifespan. The itch itself isn't the danger. It's what it represents, a deeper imbalance quietly progressing beneath the surface. Liver conditions like cirrhosis or fatty liver disease can impair detoxification and reduce healthy blood flow. Kidney problems, such as chronic kidney disease, interfere with the body's ability to manage fluids and remove waste. When these systems struggle, the consequences extend beyond the skin. They can overwork the heart, weaken the immune system, and drain energy, affecting everything from your ability to enjoy a morning walk to your mental clarity. But this isn't a reason to panic. It's a reason to pay attention. The encouraging news is that when detected early, these problems can often be managed. Simple tests can provide important answers. A blood panel checking liver function or creatinine levels paired with a urine test can reveal how well your organs are performing. If something looks off, there are practical ways to lighten the load on your liver and kidneys. Start by drinking more water, about 8 to 10 glasses daily, unless advised otherwise by your doctor, to help flush out toxins. Reducing processed foods high in salt, sugar, and additives also eases the strain on these organs. And since alcohol is a known stressor on the liver, limiting intake can make a real difference over time. Alcohol should take a back seat, and keeping salt intake under control can ease swelling and reduce strain on the kidneys. If you take multiple medications, as many older adults do, it's wise to review them with your doctor. Some common drugs, such as painkillers or statins, can quietly overwork the liver or kidneys over time. Beyond the physical effects, there's also a psychological side to consider. Constant itching can wear you down emotionally, leaving you irritable or anxious, especially when the cause remains unclear. It's a reminder of how deeply connected our bodies are, skin to organs, organs to mind. So the next time your upper back begins to itch for no obvious reason, take a moment to pause and listen. Resist the instinct to dismiss it as just aging. Your skin could be the first place your body waves a subtle flag, a quiet signal asking you to pay attention. This isn't about fear. It's about awareness and giving yourself the chance to act early, ask questions, and stay strong. After all, an itch may seem small, but the story behind it could be anything but. When older adults begin to experience persistent itching on the scalp or the back of the neck, it's easy to dismiss it as something trivial, perhaps dry winter skin, a reaction to a new shampoo, or one of those minor irritations that tend to appear with age. At first, it's barely noticeable, just a quick scratch while reading or an absent-minded rub during a TV commercial. You might even laugh it off, saying it's just another sign of getting older. But for many seniors, this isn't a passing irritation or a simple quirk. Often, there's something deeper at work, a story the body is quietly trying to tell, one that connects nerves, stress, and the subtle wear of time. It could be a gentle flare, a message from a nervous system under strain, and it's worth paying attention to. Sometimes, it's saying more than you think. The scalp and neck are prime areas for this kind of reaction. They're covered with an intricate web of nerve endings, some of the most sensitive in the body, positioned just beneath thin, delicate skin. These regions act almost like a barometer for internal stress, picking up changes both physical and emotional. When you're younger, stress might show itself through a tense jaw, a racing heart, or a restless night that passes by morning. But as we age, the body's reset button begins to slow. The stress response, once quick to turn off, lingers longer. Cortisol levels stay slightly elevated, and the immune system remains on alert. This low-grade tension doesn't simply disappear, it looks for a way out. For many older adults, it settles in those hypersensitive nerves of the scalp and neck. What starts as a light tickle can grow into a persistent, relentless itch that no scratching or moisturizer seems to relieve. To understand how this unfolds, imagine two men, Leonard and Ray, both 78, living just a few streets apart in a quiet little town. Leonard is the kind of man who's always known how to keep life steady. He tends a small backyard garden, nothing elaborate, just rows of tomatoes, some basil, and a stubborn zucchini plant he's nurtured for years. Each morning, he's out there with his hands in the soil, humming an old tune from the 60s. Evenings often find him on the porch with a mug of chamomile tea, taking slow, measured breaths. Not because he's chasing mindfulness, but because it simply feels right to let the day unwind. He keeps up with weekly card games at the community center, chats with his neighbors about the weather, and never misses a Sunday call with his daughter. Leonard isn't perfect, but he's built a rhythm of quiet balance that keeps him grounded. Ray's story, however, took a different turn. He spent 40 years as a mechanic, hands stained with grease, fixing engines, solving problems. Work gave him purpose, a sense of order. But when retirement came, it hit harder than he expected. The garage stands empty now, tools gathering dust, and his days stretch out without structure. He spends most of his time indoors, flipping through news channels or gazing out the window at a world that feels faster and farther away. Nights are the hardest. Restless and half awake, his mind replays old worries or invents new ones. A few months ago, Ray began noticing an itch on the crown of his head. At first, it came only in the evenings, as he sank into his recliner after dinner. Then it spread, mornings, afternoons, a constant nagging irritation creeping down to the back of his neck. There was no rash, no flakes, nothing visible. He tried everything: hypoallergenic shampoos, fancy conditioners, even a bamboo fiber pillowcase his niece recommended. Still, the itch persisted, unrelenting and mysterious. That itch lingered like an unwelcome guest refusing to leave. What Ray didn't realize, what many of us overlook, is that it wasn't just about his scalp. It was his body waving a quiet flag. Chronic stress, especially later in life, can do surprising things to the nervous system. It's not just about feeling tense or overwhelmed, it's physical. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, doesn't simply drift through the bloodstream. It disrupts inflammation, heightens nerve sensitivity, and can even throw the immune system off balance. For Ray, all the restlessness, isolation, and unspoken frustration of a life that no longer felt his own had started to accumulate in those nerve-dense areas. The scalp and neck, with their thin skin and intricate network of nerve endings, became amplifiers for that internal strain. You can scratch all you want, but when the root cause is emotional or neurological, No cream will fix it. Science supports this in remarkable ways. Research on aging and stress shows that chronic activation of the body's stress engine, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, can make peripheral nerves hypersensitive. They overreact to even mild sensations that a younger person might not notice. In older adults, this can appear as persistent itching, tingling, or even a burning sensation without any visible cause. And there's more. Conditions like peripheral neuropathy, nerve damage that often accompanies aging, diabetes, or vitamin deficiencies, can also heighten these sensations. Some studies have even linked chronic scalp itching to early signs of cognitive decline. Not because the itch causes it, but because both can stem from the same underlying nervous system changes. Both issues often trace back to the same neurological shifts, like inflammation or weakened nerve regulation. That doesn't mean every itchy scalp signals dementia, far from it. But it's an important reminder that the body and mind are deeply connected, always communicating, and the scalp often speaks the loudest in that dialogue. Does it have to be doom and gloom? Not at all. There's a way forward, and it's simpler than you might think. Take Leonard, for example. His life isn't a miracle cure, but it offers a quiet blueprint. Gardening gets him outside, sunlight warms his face, and his hands stay busy while his mind stays calm. His evening breathing routine, nothing formal, just a few slow minutes, signals to his nervous system that it's safe to relax. Staying connected with friends, family, and community gives him a sense of belonging that keeps his stress in check. Ray, on the other hand, had to find his balance the hard way. After weeks of scratching and frustration, he finally vented to his sister. She didn't have a miracle answer either, but she offered one suggestion. Take a morning walk, just 15 minutes around the block. Ray rolled his eyes. How could that possibly help? Still, he was desperate enough to try. He started small, shuffling past the old oak tree and the chipped mailbox. Then he made a few more changes. No news after 6 p.m., since those headlines only fed his anxiety. A weekly call to his brother to reminisce about old times, and a small notebook by his bed to jot down restless thoughts. The change wasn't instant. Nervous systems don't flip like switches, but over time the itch began to fade. His shoulders relaxed, his sleep deepened, and that relentless irritation on his scalp finally lost its grip. Even if your skin checks out perfectly, no allergies, no eczema, no lice, don't just grit your teeth and ignore the itch. Pause for a moment and check the basics. Are you drinking enough water? Is your scalp overly dry from the heater running all day? And then, go deeper. How have you really been feeling lately? Not just today, but over the past few weeks or months. Are there worries you've been carrying quietly? Concerns about your health, finances, or family that you haven't voiced? Could your nervous system simply be exhausted, begging for a break? Your body isn't a machine made of separate parts. It's a symphony, and those nerves are instruments playing a tune you may have overlooked. Sometimes, the remedy isn't complicated. It might be as simple as a short walk in the fresh air, a heartfelt chat with someone who understands, or a few quiet minutes with a warm cup of tea and your thoughts. That itch isn't just a nuisance. It's your nervous system tapping you gently on the shoulder, asking for rest, care, and a little space to breathe. Give it that, and you may be surprised how much settles, both on the surface and deep within. When it comes to ongoing itching around the chest or abdomen, most people picture the classic warning signs of declining health: shortness of breath halfway up the stairs, a dizzy spell that makes the room spin, or those frustrating moments when familiar words slip away. Those are the loud signals. But sometimes, the body speaks more quietly. There's a quieter messenger that often slips under the radar, the skin stretched across your chest and abdomen, that broad, vulnerable expanse of your torso. When this area begins to itch persistently without an obvious cause, no sunburn, no new sweater, no stray mosquito bite, it's not just a trivial annoyance. For older adults, this faint tickle or relentless urge to scratch can be a subtle signal from within, hinting at issues like nutritional deficiencies or poor absorption that slowly erode the body's strength immunity, and ability to heal. Consider two women, Joyce and Elaine, both 81, living as neighbors in a quiet town where the days unfold gently, marked by familiar seasons. Joyce is a woman of routine, still finding quiet joy in the simple rhythm of cooking. Her kitchen, blue teapot, faded floral curtains, feels like a reflection of her life, humble, steady, and full of care. Her movements have slowed. Her hands tremble slightly as she slices a crisp apple or tears kale leaves for lunch. Gone are the days of roasting whole chickens or baking trays of cookies for a full table. Now her meals are simpler but deliberate. A warm bowl of oatmeal with honey and cranberries, a small plate of steamed broccoli drizzled with olive oil, and a piece of salmon seared just right. Her appetite has waned with age, but her meals remain thoughtful, each bite chosen with intention, a quiet act of defiance against time's slow pull on vitality. Elaine, however, has taken a different path. Elaine's path had taken a different turn. About a year ago, she began to lose her appetite. Cooking felt like too much effort. Standing at the stove, washing dishes, even deciding what to make seemed overwhelming. Her days soon became filled with small, uninspired meals. A few saltine crackers with margarine, a bowl of canned tomato soup that tasted more metallic than fresh, a dry biscuit dipped in weak tea. She filled up quickly, her stomach shrinking, or maybe her interest fading, and she didn't think much of it. Then came the itching. It began as a faint prickle across her chest, just below the hollow of her throat, like a feather brushing lightly against her skin. Gradually, it spread downward across her belly, a soft, persistent irritation that flared most intensely in the stillness of evening. Sometimes her skin felt oddly tender, as though bruised by nothing at all, or so dry it seemed to crackle under her touch like autumn leaves. She blamed it on age. Perhaps her skin had become more sensitive, or her lavender soap had turned against her. She switched to a milder brand, applied thick layers of lotion, yet the itch persisted, a stubborn guest that refused to leave. What Elaine didn't realize, and what many people overlook, is that this kind of chronic itch across the torso isn't just a quirk of aging skin. It's a signal, a flare from within, revealing a body struggling to maintain balance. As we grow older, the machinery of digestion slows down. The stomach produces less acid to break down food, the intestines become less efficient at absorbing nutrients, and the liver, once a tireless filter, begins to lose its pace. Essential nutrients, vitamins like B12, healthy fats from fish or seeds, and trace minerals such as zinc, magnesium, and selenium, become harder for the body to absorb and store with age. When these building blocks run low, the effects ripple through the body like falling dominoes. The skin, our first line of defense, is often the first to show distress. Without enough zinc, it dries, flakes, and loses its ability to repair tiny tears. Without fatty acids, it thins and becomes fragile, unable to retain moisture or resist irritation. And when vitamin B12 levels drop, the nerves beneath the skin become hypersensitive, sending out prickly, itchy signals that no scratching can silence. The chest and abdomen, dense with nerve endings and blood vessels, often become the main stage for this discomfort, broadcasting the body's quiet call for help. But the story doesn't stop there. These deficiencies reach deeper, slowly weakening the very structure of your health. Muscles deprived of protein and magnesium begin to waste, making everyday tasks, like lifting a grocery bag or climbing stairs, feel harder. As B12 levels fall, energy fades. Even a short walk to the mailbox can leave you breathless. The immune system, supported by zinc and vitamin C, also weakens, causing cuts to heal slowly and colds to linger. Even the brain feels the strain. Without enough fatty acids and B12, focus blurs, memory slips, and the world seems a little hazier. Elaine's diet of crackers and soup wasn't just failing her skin, it was failing her entire system. A handful of nuts could have provided zinc and healthy fats. A scrambled egg could have offered B12 and protein. A slice of mango could have brought in vitamin C. Instead, her body was running on fumes, and that persistent itch was its way of crying out for help. That relentless itch was her body's cry for help. The most deceptive part of this decline is how easily it hides behind what seems normal. Malnutrition in seniors doesn't always show up as a thin face or a looser belt. You can look in the mirror and see the same familiar shape, maybe even a little fullness from years of good meals, yet still be starving on a cellular level. Your weight may appear steady, but inside, your muscles, bones, and organs are quietly pleading for the nourishment they're missing. That's why persistent itching across the chest or abdomen isn't something to shrug off or treat with a bit of lotion. It's a breadcrumb trail pointing to a deeper truth. Your body's engine is running on low fuel. Left unchecked, it's not just about restless nights of scratching. It's about the slow unraveling of the strength, clarity, and vitality that keep you well. Here's the good news. This is one of the easiest warning signs to reverse. You don't need prescriptions, strict diets, or a kitchen full of supplements. The solution can be surprisingly simple. A handful of walnuts each day adds zinc, healthy fats, and protein. A boiled egg at breakfast offers vitamin B12, choline, and essential amino acids. A few slices of bell pepper or a juicy peach bring vitamin C and antioxidants to calm inflammation and support your skin. Even a well-chosen multivitamin, taken with water and a light snack, can help fill nutritional gaps when cooking feels like too much effort. For Elaine, that might mean trading her crackers for a slice of rye bread topped with a small spoon of something nourishing, something that reminds her body it's still worth caring for. A spoonful of almond butter or a smoothie blended with spinach, yogurt, and a frozen banana may seem simple, yet small choices like these can create real change. Within a few weeks, the itch may fade, tenderness ease, and dryness soften. More than that, strength begins to return. Legs steadier on the walk to the porch, thoughts clearer while reading the morning paper, and enough energy to hum a quiet tune while washing a cup. So, if you've been ignoring that lingering itch across your chest or stomach, especially if your meals have become more about convenience than care, consider this your gentle reminder. It's not just about soothing the skin. It's about giving your body the nourishment it's quietly asking for, the fuel to keep its fire strong. Aging may slow your pace or soften your grip, but it should never dim your light. Joyce, with her colorful meals and steady habits, is proof of that. And Elaine can be too, one mindful, nourishing choice at a time. Now, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned today. Perhaps it's that an itch on your lower legs can signal circulation problems, or that a persistent tickle on your back may point to liver or kidney strain. Maybe it's realizing that stress can whisper through the scalp, or that itching across your chest and abdomen might reveal deeper nutritional needs. Your body is always communicating. You just need to listen a little closer. Whether it's taking short daily walks, staying hydrated, or scheduling a checkup, small, consistent steps can make a lasting difference in your health and peace of mind. Wishing you good health, happiness, and serenity, and remember to subscribe to my channel, Healthy Aging Blueprint, for more trusted insights to help you live stronger, longer, and well.